Listen, I am begging every grown woman to stop letting her check hit her account just to turn around and leave like it has somewhere to be. Because you get paid on Friday, and by Saturday morning, everybody has checked in. The mortgage got hers, daycare got theirs if you got kids. Visa came on by, and Apple took $14.99 for something you don't even remember agreeing to. And now you're looking at your paycheck like, did you come to see me at all? Now, if that paycheck has ever hit your account and somehow already felt spent, comment where did it go? Because apparently we need to put an Amber Alert out on our money. Now, if you're new here, hey friend, hey, yes, I'm all in your business, but my name is Dr. Nana. I'm a licensed psychologist, full professor, businesswoman, wife, and mama, and someone who knows what it's like to come from very little and build a completely different financial life. Facts. My mother raised me for years, making around $15,000 a year, and watching that woman make something out of what looked like nothing, it taught me some of the best money lessons I ever learned. In fact, that woman just paid for a third house in cash. Respect. Then I became a single woman building my own career, buying stuff in my own name, managing my own household, growing businesses, earning more money than I had ever seen growing up, sometimes in one transaction, and eventually becoming a married woman and learning that having more money and combining your life with someone does not make money management simpler. Baby, sometimes it just gives the money more places to go. And one rule has followed me throughout every version of my life. Every dollar that comes into your hand does not have permission to leave. And making more money doesn't automatically fix that, Tasha. So today we're having that hard conversation that I wish more women would have with each other. How much should you actually be putting away? What money should you still have for yourself when you're married? What if you make more or less than your partner? Do you loan people money? Should you cosign? How do you save when life keeps lifing all over your checking account? And how do you take care of the people you love without becoming everybody's emergency fund? Because I'm not just about to sit here and tell you to make a budget and stop buying stuff you like. I want to give you some rules for your paycheck. Rules that help you enjoy your money, take care of your responsibilities, and build a beautiful life with somebody or somebodies if you choose to. And still make sure that that woman earning the check does not get paid last. Bitch better have my money. Yes. And before we get into it, I want to know where my girls are right now. If you're actively trying to get better with your money this year, type this: I'm getting there. Even if you feel like you're starting with 20 funky little dollars, comment I'm building. 20 is better than none. Because that $20 that stays with you is doing more for your future than that $200 you keep promising that you're going to save next month.
Dr. Nina, the girl next door, beautiful brown baby doll.
All right, let's talk about these money rules. 1, your paycheck needs rules before it needs a budget. Now, I need y'all to understand that first, because a budget tells you where your money went, and a rule tells you what your money is allowed to do. And one thing that I learned from watching my mother take very little and making it stretch very far is that everything you earn is not available to spend. That sounds simple, but baby, a lot of us are looking at our bank balance like all of those dollars are free agents. They are not. Like I tell y'all all the time, them dollars got jobs. So every time I get paid, I need my money to go into 4 basic buckets. And you've heard me mention this in other videos. What keeps me alive? Housing, food, transportation, and bills. What keeps me prepared? Car repairs, Christmas, travel, annual bills. The stuff we keep calling an emergency, even though Thanksgiving and Christmas come on the same day every year. Think for quite some time now, actually. Next, what keeps me secure? Savings, investments, retirement. And then what lets me live? Because I'm not working this hard to sit in the house eating air and just watching my retirement account grow. I want dinner. I want lunch. I want a trip. In fact, we just came back from Mexico, baby. Had the personal butler and everything. Praise the Lord. I want a cute little something, just some balance. But here's the rule that changed everything. Savings is not what's left after you live. Savings is a part of your cost of life. Even if $20, even if $50, you train yourself that every paycheck leaves something behind. And if you get paid twice a month, automate that twice a month. Get that money out of your everyday checking account before you start mentally spending it. Because the first person that should get a little bit of your paycheck is the woman who earned that. 2, and this one might hurt all you baby trad wives and, do not become financially invisible just because you fell in love. Don't click off yet. Now, let me talk to my married and partner women and, weird situation women too. And single ladies. You ain't skipping this either, because this is something I think you need to decide before you build your life with someone. I'm married. I love my husband and I love being married to him. But I was also a whole financially functioning woman before I married Sean. And getting married didn't suddenly mean I needed to stop savings, retirement, credit, or financial security with my own name attached to it. And this ain't secret money and it's not planning your escape. So stop it. This is being an adult As y'all can see, I got a little hot and heated like Flaming Hot Cheetos. And this is where I think women can quietly lose themselves financially. Everything starts going towards us, our mortgage, our family, our children, our goals, our emergencies. Meanwhile, your personal savings hasn't moved in 3 years. Baby, you too are a part of the us. Don't get absorbed. Okay? Your financial security counts too. So whether you combine everything, keep everything separate, or if you do a little bit of both, I believe that every relationship needs 4 conversations. What are we responsible for? What am I responsible for? What are we building together? And what am I still building for myself? Got it? Pull out that pencil and paper. Write it down. And please look beyond the big bills, because you can split the mortgage 50-50 while one woman is quietly paying for all the kids' clothes, birthday gifts, household supplies, school stuff, toiletries, and every random, oh, we need, fill in the blank. And suddenly her paycheck is gone while technically we split everything. No, boo, you split the bills. You did not split the cost of life. That needs to be audited. And I got a little quick audit for y'all down below. Go ahead and join my little email list and I got a free one for you. And if your incomes are dramatically different, 50-50 may not even be fair. Sometimes a proportional contribution makes more sense. Sometimes responsibilities shift because somebody loses a job, has a baby, stays home, or life simply changes. There is no one perfect setup. But my rule is this: never be so committed to building ours that you completely stop protecting yours. Know what you have, know what you owe, maintain your own credit, keep building retirement, have access to money, and understand the finances of the household that you live in. Don't let nobody disable you, because love should add a partner to your financial life. It should not remove you from it. Got it? 3, stop letting your entire paycheck be responsible for right now. Now, here's a money rule I had to learn early. That paycheck that you get today cannot only take care of the woman that you are today, because most of us got paid and immediately think, what needs to be paid? What do we need for the house? What do the kids need? What do I need? And baby, by the time everybody in the present gets fed, future you ain't got nothing but thoughts and prayers. Especially when I was single, I realized that I couldn't sit around waiting for another person's income to come and save me. Some of every check had to go towards building something, and it needed to still be there after my paycheck was gone. Long gone. And I've carried that into marriage, because here's something I don't think women hear enough. Your whole household can be financially okay while you yourself are financially unprepared, personally unprepared. Your husband has a retirement account. Wonderful. Where's yours? You have investments together? Great. Do you understand what you own and where it is? Your partner handles most of the money? Okay, but could you tell me what's happening with it? And this is not about distrusting your partner. I love Sean, like I said. This is about refusing to become a financial passenger in your own life. So my rule is this: every paycheck needs to build something you don't plan to immediately spend. Maybe that's retirement or investing. Maybe right now you're building your cash savings. And if you're starting small, start small. $20 is still $20 that didn't disappear. But every time your income grows, ask yourself, did future me get a raise too? Because if you're making $20,000 more than you were 5 years ago, but your savings and your investments haven't changed, baby, your income increased, but your wealth did not. And I also want to be clear here. I do not believe that building wealth means making your current life unnecessarily hard. Sometimes spending a little money on the right convenience, it can keep me from making a much more expensive decision when I'm tired, when I'm hungry, or when I'm over it, which is often. And speaking of that, this portion of today's video is sponsored by Wildgrain. And y'all already know Wildgrain has become one of those things I genuinely love. And I love having it in my freezer because it's convenience that we as a family actually use. Everything bakes straight from frozen in 25 minutes or less. So I don't have to thaw it, plan 3 business days ahead, or suddenly decide I'm somebody's artisanal baker, on a random Wednesday night. But this box, y'all, we got the cookies this time. And apparently I made the critical error in believing that they were my cookies, because my whole family loves Wildgrain's cookies. Everybody just up in there sampling. Everybody even got an opinion, even little Hunter. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to figure out why the cookies I was supposed to be sampling for work became a community resource. Would you look at that? And yes, they got the biscuits too, baby. And if you've been here before, you already know how I feel about Wildgrain stuff, especially the biscuits, the cookies, the croissants, all of it. I don't play about them. They're my little treat. Now, Wildgrain works with small bakers and pasta makers all around the country. And the boxes can include sourdough breads, artisan pastries, and fresh pastas. I also love this about their breads. They use a slow fermentation process that takes more than 20 hours. And the products stay frozen until you're ready to bake them. So you get that fresh baked experience ingredients without the preservatives or having to do all the work yourself. They also have gluten-free, vegan, and new protein box options. And this is what I'm talking about with being intentional about convenience. Because having something that my family genuinely enjoys already in my freezer is very different from standing in my kitchen at 6:47 p.m., hungry, tired, and financially vulnerable to takeout. Those are two completely different situations. So if you want to try Wildgrain, click my link in the description. That's wildgrain.com/Nina and use my code Nina to get $30 off your first box plus free croissants for life. Now, we've talked about putting money away, but here's where a lot of us get stuck. Saving money and actually keeping money are two completely different skills. And that brings me to this next rule. Build a savings floor and stop starting over. Now, as I said, saving money and keeping money are two completely different skills because some of us save $500, spend $300, save another $400, take out $250, and technically you've been saving for 3 years, but that account has been sitting at $647, fighting for its entire life. And this is why I believe in a savings floor. Maybe your first floor is $500. Once you get there, you start treating that $500 like zero. Then you build to $1,000. Then 1 month of your essential expenses. And then, depending on your life and income stability, several months. A true emergency can absolutely require you to use it. But a sale, a last minute trip, something cute, that money is unavailable. Off limits. I'm in your bushes. And this is something that I learned while watching my mother. You don't have to make a lot of money to practice keeping some money. If all you can protect right now is a $20 check, protect what you might think is a funky little 20 because the amount can grow later. Right now, you're learning how to let money stay with you. And I personally like emergency savings separate from my everyday spending money. Ideally, somewhere earning interest and not connected to the debit card I'm swiping all over creation because I don't need to see $8,000 while deciding whether or not I want brunch. That money is not invited to brunch. We're not balling out. Set a new financial zero. Prioritize it, protect it, then keep moving that floor up. 5, stop turning your savings into everybody else's emergency fund. Now, once you finally start keeping some money, here come the people. Here they come. Y'all heard somebody start their car. I don't know what's going on. Here they come. Somebody need $500 till Friday. Lies. Somebody's bill is behind. Somebody needs a cosigner. And because you finally got yourself financially stable, congratulations. You are now First National Bank of the family. Listen, I believe in helping people that I love, but I got rules. Rule number 1. Never loan money that you cannot afford to not see again. If I loan you $500, my life needs to keep functioning like I never gave it to you. And sometimes I'd rather say this. I can't loan you $1,000, but I can give you 100. Done. No repayment plan. No awkward Thanksgiving or ducking down in the bushes. No looking at your vacation pictures on Instagram and thinking, oh, so that's where my money went. Rule number 2, somebody else's emergency doesn't automatically become your emergency. If helping someone requires you to empty the savings protecting your family and your household, your child or yourself, you cannot afford to help them that way. And finally, co-signing. Ooh-wee, somebody about to click off. Stay here. Please understand what you're actually doing. Co-signing is not telling the bank she's a good person. I know her mama. You're saying if this person doesn't pay you, I will. So my rule is simple. If I cannot comfortably afford every payment myself, I cannot and I will not cosign. And that applies in relationships too, boo. There's a difference between helping somebody you love through a hard season and your paycheck becoming the permanent solution to another capable adult's financial patterns. You can love people and you can help people, but you do not have to go financially backward every time somebody you love goes through a little something. 6, every pay raise needs a savings raise. Now, here's a rule that I wish more people followed. Every time your income goes up, future you needs a raise too. Because what normally happens? You start making an extra $500 a month, and somehow within 6 months, you got $500 worth of new life. The groceries got extra fancy. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. The hotels got nicer. You added 3 little subscriptions. You started saying stuff like, it's only $40. And listen, I've told y'all, I believe in enjoying your money. What's the point of working hard if your life never gets better? But before your life absorbs the entire raise, decide what portion automatically stays with you. Maybe you get an extra $500 and $200 automatically goes to your savings, even your investments or your retirement. Now, present you got a raise and future you did too. Because making more money and becoming wealthier are not automatically the same things. If every raise creates a bigger lifestyle, but nothing you own, save, or invest in gets bigger, you're earning more, but you're not necessarily keeping more. And baby, we didn't work this hard just to become high income and still waiting on that payday. 7, decide on what you will go in debt for before you want something. Now, I'm not one of those people that's going to sit here and tell you that all debt is evil, but I do think every woman needs personal debt rules, and you need to make those rules while you're calm, not standing in the store, not booking that trip on Travelocity. Not when somebody says, well, it's only $89 a month, because that's how they get us. My rule is to look at the total cost, not just whether I can squeeze another payment into my month. And I especially want you to ask this: will I still be paying for this after I'm done enjoying it? Because I personally do not want Christmas 2027 still introducing herself to my credit card in the summer of 2028. And I would say the same rule goes for a marriage or a wedding. Yeah. A 5-day vacation shouldn't become a 24-month financial relationship. Every time I go somewhere, I like to try to make sure that I can pay it in full by the date of the trip. And buy now, pay later can make it especially easy to stack little payments until 3 paychecks from now, you're still spending money you haven't earned yet. So friend, decide your rules in advance. Maybe you're comfortable financing a home, maybe reliable transportation, maybe certain education that makes sense for your goals. Your list may look different from mine, but know where your line is. Because when you don't have debt rules, the question becomes, can I afford this payment? When the better question is, do I want to give this purchase access to my future paychecks? And one of my favorite rules is this: try not to go into debt for something you'll finish using before you finish paying for it. That's why I have the rule about the trips, because your paycheck already got enough people waiting for it. They in line. Stop introducing it to people it hasn't even met yet. Now 8, the paycheck rule book. So after everything we just talked about, I want to leave you with the actual rules, because your money doesn't need another inspirational quote. It needs boundaries. Rule 1, every paycheck keeps something. Even if it's small, we do not spend everything we touch. Rule 2, save before your lifestyle gets a vote. If you wait to save what's left, baby, life is going to leave you nothing but lint. Rule 3, keep raising your financial zero. Build the floor, protect it. Stop starting over. Rule 4, do not disappear financially inside a relationship. Build together, absolutely, but know your money, maintain your credit, build your retirement, and keep financial security with your name attached to it. Rule 5, never loan money that you need back, and never co-sign a payment that you can't afford to make yourself consistently. Rule 6, every raise gets a future you raise. And Rule 7, decide what gets access to your future paychecks before someone offers you an easy monthly payment. Look, baby, that's really the system. Not never spending, not never helping people, not hoarding every dollar until you're 87 with $12 million and no memories. One thing we gonna do is live. But I learned from my mother, who at the time didn't have a lot of money, that the amount that you make matters, and what you do with what passes through your hands matters too. I've carried that as a single woman. I carried it as my income grew, and I carry it now as a married woman with a family, because my money actually has more responsibilities today. But I am still one of those big responsibilities, the biggest. And I want every woman listening to me to remember that your paycheck can take care of your bills. It can help your family. It can build a life with someone you love. It can buy the cute thing and fund some fun, because hello, we worked for it. But every little paycheck should leave something behind for the woman who earned it. Because the goal isn't just to make more money, y'all. I know I talk about it, but it's not. It's to finally stop wondering where the hell all of it went. Sorry, mama. And baby, I want us to keep some of our money. I want that for you. Sprinkle. And that is all, y'all. I don't want you scared to spend your money. I don't want you to feel guilty every time you enjoy something you worked for. I just want you to get a hold of that paycheck before everybody else does. Take care of your life. Love your people. Build together if you're partnered. Buy something cute every now and then and go somewhere too. But keep something for you now and you later, because you work way too hard for your paycheck to keep pulling up and waving and then driving off with everybody else. The nerve. All right, y'all, make sure that you comment, share this video with someone who can use it, and subscribe. I love y'all, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Dr. Nina signing out. Peace.